Good evening, Mount Vernon. This is Mayor Sean Patterson Howard. Welcome to our Tuesday night updates here with the City of Mount Vernon. It is DPW week, and so we have some of our DPW staff, Department of Public Works, for those who don't know what the acronym means. We're going to ask that you please take a moment to share this video. Start a watch party. We want to make sure as many people have an opportunity to get the updates and be a part of the conversation. And so I'm going to look down for a second so that I could take a moment and share this as well to make sure that people have an opportunity to join. So just give us a second. And those of you, if you have another device at home and you could share the video, that would be great. Those of you who are on this panel with me tonight. So we're going to just start really quickly since this is DPW week. One of the things that people have been asking a lot this week is when are we going to restart alternate side of the street parking? Alternate side of the street parking will go back into effect. Alternate side of street parking will go back into effect on the 26th of May. That is next Tuesday. That is a week from today. That is the day after Memorial Day. Alternate side of the street parking will go back into effect. And so for the south side, that's what, Tuesdays and Thursdays are alternate? No. South side and the north side, alternate side of the street parking will go back into effect as of the 26th. And we will be sending out information to that effect. Parking permits will be back in effect as of June 1st. So you have a few days grace period to go and purchase your parking permits or update your parking permits here in the City of Mount Vernon. And all parking permits will be paid at our Sydney Avenue office right there on Sydney Avenue near 3rd, right under the bridge. That's where our parking office is. And because the courts are closed, that's where you'll also have an opportunity to pay tickets. We do have, we will be forgiving tickets that were received during the cancellation of alternate side of the street parking. We'll be forgiving alternate side of the street and meter tickets. We will not be forgiving tickets if you parked in a no parking zone. We will not be forgiving tickets if you parked in a fire hydrant. Those are legitimate tickets that have nothing to do with alternate side of the street parking and meters, which were all suspended during this COVID period, I believe from about March 17th up until when we reinstated it on May 26th. So as I said, we have tonight with us some of our public works team. And we're going to start first with our Deputy Commissioner, Damani Bush. We also have Jennifer goodness, why am I messing up your name? Mastrio Giorgio. And she works in our DPW office and she handles the finances. And then we have John Montemarano, who works with some of our outside crews on the trees and different grounds work in Mount Vernon. And then we have Dwayne Jones, who is one of our foremen also with the sanitation division. So we're gonna start off with Deputy Commissioner Bush. Deputy Commissioner Bush, can you kind of give us an understanding? Can you tell us all of the different divisions? Because people don't understand the breadth of work that is done in public works. They're just thinking that you fill potholes and that you pick up garbage and that you do sweeping. So can you really tell us what is involved in the Department of Public Works and kind of really all of the divisions that fall under Public Works?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight as well. There are definitely a lot of bureaus under the Department of Public Works. Of course, our number one concern in bureau is always sanitation, recycling, yard waste. What else is there? That's our main refuse collection. Then we have sidewalk, which is our highway crews. They repair the sidewalks. They do potholes and things of that nature. Then we have our parks department. They trim trees, plant flowers. They do stump removals, things of that. We have our sewer division, which handles all of our sewer work, sanitary storm and sewer lines throughout the city. And then we have our garage maintenance, which handles all the maintenance, the fleet for the city of Mount Vernon, which includes DPW vehicles, police vehicles, fire department vehicles, pretty much all the vehicles throughout the city of Mount Vernon. There's definitely a lot of bureaus that we have that handles the everyday aspect of the city of Mount Vernon, and it's a tough job. It's a lot to handle every day, but somehow we get it done.
Well, I know before, Commissioner Bush, you did tell me that the number of staff that you have in DPW has decreased over the past 10 years, while the number of residents that we have to serve continues to increase. So I think at one time you said we were about 200 staff.
Right. So when I started 10 years ago, and when I started, there was a little bit over 200 staff. Right now, on a good day, out in the field, we might have 80 guys, if that. And it's just a big difference and a big decrease. And it severely impacts because the amount of residents have increased over the past 10 years, as everyone knows. So that's why I even say this census is so important for us, because it's time for us to really get an accurate count of how many residents are in the city of Mount Vernon, because that affects our funding for instance, like street resurfacing. That's based on how many residents and how many lane miles we have in the city of Mount Vernon. So if we show that there's more traffic and show more people are coming through the city of Mount Vernon, that's more funding that can be allocated for us. So it's very important that we get an accurate count on how many people are actually in the city of Mount Vernon.
Thank you so much. So we've gone from 200 staff 10 years ago to having an active staff on a daily basis of maybe less than 100 people, but yet we're doing an increased amount of work because our population is increased. That's a lot to ask of our Public Works Department. We get some praises for Public Works, but the first time you don't pick up someone's garbage, or the first time their garbage can is not put back on the sidewalk, or is tossed, we get a lot of complaints. But the amount of work that you guys do and the amount of tonnage that you're picking up on a daily, monthly basis really out distances and outnumbers the per capita tonnage around this county. So,
Right.
Shout out to
DPW. Right. Compared to Yonkers, we're number 2, but as far as tonnage.
Well, Yonkers has twice the population of us, right. So I'm sure per capita, we're picking up probably more garbage than they are based on our number of residents. So we're gonna go on over right now. Good to see you, Mr. Murray. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna jump over to John Montemarano. So you can tell us about some of the work that you're doing in your division. And John, welcome to Zoom. He said this is his first time Zooming.
Yeah.
And so not only are you Zooming, but you're also live on Facebook.
Yes, so this is my first time Zooming, but we've pretty much, can you guys see me?
Now we can again.
Okay. We've pretty much put up with all our grass stops. The Parks Department, we have about 52 grass stops that we've put up with, and starting tomorrow, we're going back to, our regular routine with the stops. Throughout this whole pandemic thing, we've spread about 100 yards of mulch citywide, still doing tree work, still doing stump work, and within the next 2 weeks, hopefully when the weather breaks, we're gonna start planting flowers citywide. So, we're still trying to keep up with the, daily routine work with this whole pandemic going around, and, trying to keep everyone safe. So we're still, beautifying the city and, doing what we have to do pretty much.
And honestly, during this pandemic, because DPW, like all other departments, got hit, and we had people out who were COVID positive, we had other people who were quarantined, we pretty much moved all of our different divisions into sanitation to just help us keep up with the increased amount of garbage that you were having to collect throughout the city because we had so many people at home. People don't understand the amount of garbage that we've had to pick up over the last 2.5 months has really increased as everyone is on stay-at-home orders. And so people are eating more at home, they're ordering out, they're eating, and so the workload has increased as our staffing has decreased as people within the department also took ill and others had to be quarantined. So it is DPW week. Look, none of our departments are perfect, but I definitely have to give a shout out to DPW for the work that they've continued to do during this pandemic. Not only was DPW picking up garbage, but our DPW crews were also out sanitizing public areas. They were sanitizing bus stops, train stops, and it's not our job to do the trains. The trains are New York State MTA, but because our residents use these train stations and these bus stops, we made sure that those areas were sanitized, and this was work that our DPW crew did. Our DPW crew went by all of our firehouses, as well as our court building, our police station, Dole Center, the Armory, and City Hall, and continued to do extra deep sanitization to reduce the risk and the transfer of COVID. So you guys have been incredibly busy, above and beyond what your regular duties are in DPW. And I just think that needed to be stated because people don't understand all of the extra things that we've had to do and we've been faced with in the city of Mount Vernon because of COVID. And this is an opportunity to help them really understand. So with that being said, you're welcome. I want to pull in our Jennifer Mastria Giorgio. And just Jen, can you talk about some of the work that you do in DPW? While you're not out in the field, you're doing very important work in the office. Can you tell us, what you manage and what have been some of your successes as well as your challenges?
So I work in the commissioner's office, and I am the person that's in between the Department of Public Works and the controller's office. I am responsible for getting all of our invoices paid. I deal directly with our vendors. I keep track of our budget as best as I can. And I think I do a pretty good job on my end, but it is a little, no, thanks. It's a little difficult, with our current situation with the controller, just trying to get bills paid in a timely fashion, or even at all. So that's part of the struggle.
So Jen, before you worked in DPW, where did you work?
I worked in the controller's office. I was the accounts payable person cutting the checks.
Okay, so you were the accounts payables person in the controller's office before you came to DPW. Yes. So you have a really good working knowledge of how the controller's office traditionally operates. Traditionally,
yes.
Would you say that it operates differently now?
Yes, nothing is the same. I don't, for instance, we always had access, the department's always had access to our budget through our accounting software, Munis. We no longer have that access. We don't even get monthly reports. The last monthly report that I received being in DPW was October of 2018. And those monthly reports show what has been paid out of our budget lines, what's been paid, what our balances are. I have no way of knowing that anymore. So I've had to make my own spreadsheets just to keep track in our own way, because I don't receive any help from the controller's office at all.
So, I mean, that impacts you. And I think the way it impacts your work and the work in the department is, if we're not able to pay for sanitation truck repairs, if we're not paying bills to vendors, we can't get equipment to do projects and repair work throughout the city. So, not being able to pay our vendors and in a timely fashion cuts off our access from a variety of our vendors, and it causes us to go out and pay higher prices to new vendors because they know our poor payment record. If we could just jump back to Deputy Commissioner Bush. Can you speak to that, Deputy Commissioner Bush?
Yeah, like I said, I've been in the department for 10 years now, and this is by far the most, it's so frustrating in there on a daily basis dealing with the controls office and just processing our daily bills. Like the other day, we were looking to purchase tape to start laying out the floor plan for City Hall to reopen City Hall. And we literally had to call around to several different vendors just to find tape because we couldn't purchase tape because the original vendor that we usually order from, we had an outstanding bill with them since last year. So it's a domino effect now of from the little things to the big things, such as our sanitation trucks being repaired. They're not releasing them back to us because they haven't received payment. So it's affecting us department wide, where it's just frustrating every day trying to get bills paid and still have a working relationship with these vendors during this crisis. And it's sad because these vendors, they're suffering just like everyone else during this crisis. So they need their money in a timely manner. So for us to just, it's every day it's a struggle. And I really applaud Jen for working through this because I know it's been plenty of days she's going crazy. She's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? But we continue fighting through it because we know it's for the residents, it's for the city of Mount Vernon. So we continue doing our job to the best of our ability. So it's tough though.
But at the end of the day, whether we're paying bills, whether we have enough trucks, whether trucks are in the shop, whether or not you guys are able to purchase the equipment that you need to fix trees, cut trees, fix sidewalks, repair potholes in the street, DPW is still out there doing the most with the resources that they have. So thank you. I want to move over for a second, and we're going to come back to you, Jen, to Dwayne Jones. Dwayne is in our sanitation division. So, you know, you guys are picking up the garbage. You're out there picking up all of these tons of garbage here in Mount Vernon. Talk to us about some of your successes, Dwayne, and what you're proud of, and then also talk to us about some of the challenges that you face in sanitation. We need him unmuted. Dwayne, you're muted. We might, okay, there you go.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Foremost, attitude reflects leadership. And we want to thank you for all your love and support and backing us, of course, because you are Mount Vernon born and raised, and we appreciate it. I'd like to also thank the commissioner, Damani Bush, who works tirelessly to constantly keep us and at least our lips above water, keep us from sinking. So thanks, my brother. I appreciate you. Jen, you do a great job in there. Don't nobody tell you anything different. Thank you for fighting for us. So from across the board, I would first like to thank all my brothers in the department for working hard through this pandemic. I've seen a loving brotherhood and everybody look out for each other. You should have seen how we gelled and got together just to get this job done. As far as tonnage concerned and garbage, we probably pick up more tonnage based on the fact of the size of our city than any other department in the state. We only have 8 routes, and those guys are
hold on, Dwayne, can you pull back for a second? You're so close, all we can see is your mouth.
As far as tonnage is garbage, each truck with 8 routes is picking up anywhere from 12 to 15 tons a load. They're doing two loads, 2.5 loads a day based on what's going on. So you can't say our department's not working hard. We really are. That's just the sanitation aspect of it. So yeah, I'm super proud of what we do on a daily basis. Also, aside from sanitation, we're cleaning areas daily. I have a couple of gentlemen out on a daily basis, cleaning areas in different areas where the elderly can't get to clean. We're gonna try to tackle 71 Sheridan sometime next week if we can. It's a holiday week. Guys are cleaning. I got a guy, Pete Canacho, who's been out there killing them. He's probably done in the last 2 weeks 70, maybe 70 some odd stops cutting and cleaning. And we do that daily. And then he also helps identify things riding around. Challenges, you want to see a challenge, come down there tomorrow or come down next week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in a holiday week when I've got crews waiting for a sanitation truck so that they can go out and do their job. And then sometimes we're sitting waiting until another truck is done. And this is what we go through because we don't have the vehicles, the manpower. It's incredible. So are we facing challenges? Absolutely. Do we make miracles happen every day? Every day. But, it's so funny. It's almost as if it's just the normal, because we just do it every day. So, yeah, proud, challenges every day. Tomorrow, we'll be sitting there trying to get it done. We pick up sometimes with small trucks just to pick it up off the streets. My day started this morning at 4 a.m. My first phone call came in at 5:30 about a garbage truck. I was at the yard at 6 o'clock. I didn't leave till about 1, 2 o'clock. I just got a phone call about some yard waste that was missed, but was actually put out late. I had guys go back out and pick it up. So it's a 24-hour operation. I've got to call 1 o'clock in the morning when a tree came down, call the tree crew. They came out right away and tackled that. So it's a 24-hour operation and our phones are on constantly. I called Damani 1 o'clock in the morning, let him know what's going on. He said, D, handle it. I said, I got it. It's just, like I said, I wish people knew exactly what we did on a daily basis and how hard it is for us to get our job done. But as you stated, Madam Mayor, we get it done anyway. So any other questions for me?
Can you speak to that for a second? Because I can definitely tell you that's one of the most frequent calls that I get. Oh, DPW forgot to pick up our garbage. DPW forgot to pick up our yard waste. So honestly, what time do the trucks start rolling out, and what time should people have their garbage out? What time should people have their garbage out?
They're supposed to have it out by 7:30. The garbage should be out by 7:30. Sometimes there's a mix up with schedules. There's a mix up with people not understanding that it's cardboard instead of recycling. For the most part, I'm not going to say that all the homeowners put it out late. That's not true. Well, we're human. We may miss it, but we always go back and pick it up.
So I'm a challenge you for a minute. You said 7:30. I know on my block, they hit my block sometime by about 6:45. And sanitation trucks are leaving the yard at 6 in the morning.
They're out there. They're out there early. Some guys get in at 6 o'clock. They got to get the trucks ready to go. They get out on the road. Dwayne,
back up again. We can only see them out.
Some of the guys get in at 6 a.m. Some of the guys are rolling. I mean, some areas have their garbage out at night. Some of the buildings, some of the large buildings, put their stuff out super early. So the guys are able to go ahead and attack those areas that they can get to early so they can get started. If we didn't let these guys start early, or if we didn't have these guys on the incentive program, we probably wouldn't get this garbage up off the street on a daily basis. So I'm just happy that these guys do the road running. And their job, people think that they do garbage and they go home early. That's not really what it's about. If they were to focus or even ride with a truck for a day, they'd be like, okay, yeah, no, we appreciate you guys.
So shout out to all of DPW, but I have to give a special shout out to S5 because that's my route. I live on the S5 route. And I can tell you, they hit our block before 7 a.m. So we put our garbage out really early, or we put it out the night before, and we try and secure it as much as possible so that the raccoons don't tear up the bags. We put it in, garbage bags or in a container. But shout out to S5 because they take care of my block. And they took care of our block way before I was mayor. So it's not like they're doing anything new and special on our block, but they've always worked hard, and I get to see the guys throughout the streets. And yes, like you said, sometimes you do miss houses, or yes, a truck might come through earlier than expected, but they have to go back and pick it up. And part of that is really the foreman's responsibility to make sure that they're driving those routes and make sure that we're doubling back to pick up garbage that might have been missed. So thank you. It's more than a notion. It's more than a notion. Like you said, if you didn't start at 6 o'clock in the morning, it would be very hard to complete. Optimally, how many routes should Mount Vernon have? You said we have 8 active routes. How many routes should we have here in Mount Vernon?
I think I would opt for 10 to 12, to be honest with you. We've outgrown the 8 routes years ago. That we're overworking the trucks. We really need, I would say, I'd be happy with 10 to start out with right now, and hopefully to move on to other things, move on to a larger number, but at least 10. At least at
Well,
10. That might not, alleviate, the pain, but it would be a big help.
So I know that, like you said, 10 to 12 routes would be best. And the reason we have 8 is only because we don't have enough garbage trucks. And so that's what we're forced to do, that 8 routes here in Mount Vernon. So fortunately, the city council did approve, and the board of estimate did approve the purchasing of 4 used garbage trucks, because we haven't purchased garbage trucks since 2010. And even if you have a car, it's hard for your personal car to last for 10 years. And when you have garbage trucks that are picking up that amount of tonnage, we have some trucks down there that are as old as 20 years. So we are in desperate need of updating our fleet so that we can meet the continued rising demand of garbage in the community. I'm saying these things because it's really important. People have a very outside view of what DPW does and what you're tasked to do. So it's important for them to understand the full scope of your department, and the limited resources in which we are working with, and the fact that the department has been cut in half in the past 10 years. So while our population has continued to increase, we're not making excuses, we're just laying out realities. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But there is also a need for additional resources so that the staff could do their work. So thank you. I see, hold on, what happened? Gerald disappeared. And I see that Vincent Rodriguez has joined us, but we're gonna jump over to Gerald since he was on. Gerald, come on in and tell us about what you're doing and with DPW.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I'm one of the sanitation workers. I have 2 concerns that I want to address. While everybody's on here, and whoever's looking, I have 2 concerns I want to address about the home. One concern is the wire baskets on the street garbage cans. Them garbage cans is not there for house garbage. It's for street garbage. And every day the garbage pails is overlapping because people come and put the house garbage inside the garbage cans. It's not for that. Our job is to keep the city clean. And, by that happening, it's not keeping the city clean. That's what brings rats, raccoons and everything else amongst the street. So I'm just, trying to, advise everybody, can you please stop putting house garbage inside the wire baskets? Only for street garbage, that's it. And another thing is, the big green restaurant cans is not for houses. You have to get the regular size garbage cans. Them garbage cans, we don't have to lift them up. Number one, they too heavy. We don't have the trucks to lift them garbage cans up. So the only thing we can do is take out the garbage cans, and that's it. We have complaints about, we leaving garbage in the garbage cans and everything. Yeah, we have to get what we can get out. Now, we're not gonna lift the garbage cans up. The best thing to do is to get the regular size garbage pails, and we can work with those.
So you're saying that people are using, and I think I saw you put that on Facebook. You put a picture of it. That people are using commercial garbage cans in residential properties, and that our staff and our trucks are not necessarily equipped to handle commercial garbage in a residential neighborhood. Unlike the other communities, we don't have the trucks that automatically pick up these big garbage cans and flip the garbage into the truck.
Some cities wouldn't even dump the garbage can. If it's garbage, if you're using them pails, Some cities won't even touch the garbage cans because they're not made for garbage. They're not made for houses. I mean, that's for like restaurants and other businesses like that. It's not for house.
So I want to say something because we have here Janine Thompson Overton said DPW needs to stop throwing our garbage cans back on the ground or in our yard. And I know that's one of the complaints that we get from time to time, that, when you finished with the garbage, that, they're tossed, as opposed to the garbage cans are not placed back on the sidewalk.
And that's not a that's not a problem. That's not a problem. I talk to the workers about that. We'll take care of that. I talk to the workers about that. That's not a problem.
Okay.
May I-
I've had that complaint in the past as well. Yes, Dwayne.
A lot of the homeowners appreciate that the guys put the cans, throw them back in the yard, because if they leave them in the driveway where they are, then they have to get out of the car to move them. So some homeowners appreciate this. I haven't had a complaint with people putting the cans back in the yard, and most of the guys don't throw the cans. The regular route guys do not throw the cans. Some of the new guys have to be taught not to put the can back where it is, but most of the seasoned vets who deal with the homeowners on a daily basis, they don't throw the cans. They will call and complain if they see guys throwing the cans. They don't like that at all. So a lot of the vets do not appreciate, new guys throwing the cans. A lot of times, after a conversation, it doesn't happen again.
So we have to continuously do retraining and checking and holding people accountable. I mean, because that's not the common practice, but people do it from time to time.
What's super interesting here is a lot of your sanitation veterans will definitely control and check, a situation. They don't like homeowners to complain. So on my routes and some of the other routes, you got some veterans that do not allow you to come on their route and destroy any relationship they have with the homeowners. So.
And I got one more thing. Can I say one more thing? I have another issue as far as cars speeding up and down the block when we get in the garbage. That has to stop too. I mean reason out there is safety. It's safety. We have to deal with safety. And by cars speeding up and down the block while we get in the garbage, somebody's going to get hurt. That has to stop. People speed up and down the block. Then we be asking them to slow down. We get cursed out. People in back of us blowing the horns while we get in the garbage. That's disrespectful too. Give us time, so we could have a space to pull over. We wouldn't have a problem with letting you by. But staying, in back of us, blowing the horns, yelling things out, that's disrespectful. Don't do that. Because the minute we say something to you, they'll call up City Hall. The minute we say something, they'll call up City Hall and make something up, that we disrespect them and everything else, and it goes, somewhere else. So I'm just asking, people that's in the cars, please slow down. Treat us like you treat the fireman, police department, any other department. Just please slow down.
I mean, and definitely during this time when alternate side of the street parking has been suspended and everyone is home, it's hard for you to be able to maneuver around, everyone that's parked on the block. Our blocks are not wide blocks. So if people are parked on both sides of the street and you're trying to bring a big truck through the route to pick up garbage, there is nowhere for you to pull over to the side. Trust me, the last thing I like is being stuck behind a garbage truck. I hate being stuck behind a garbage truck, but I also know the routes of the garbage trucks. And so sometimes I've had to alternate my route, then not go up. If I'm getting ready to turn up a block and I see a garbage truck there, I'm not turning up that block because I know it's going to take them a while to get up the block. So, we have to also use common sense because you guys are trying to get through the block as quick as possible. So I know I read a complaint. I also want to, there are people saying, yes, they've been early lately. I put out the garbage the night before. They are on point. It says, what's with the new way that you guys are gathering the garbage into the middle of the street? So I've seen that too. Talk to us about that. Okay.
I can answer that too. Sometimes guys might get to the route early before the truck. So we'll go out to the route and pull a couple blocks to make it easier for us. When we come through, we'll swoop that garbage up and keep it moving. That's all it is. And that's all it is. We're not trying to make a big mess, none of that. That's just the easier way for us to get that garbage up, when we're doing our route. So some guys might get out to the route, before the garbage truck, pull some blocks, so when the truck comes, when we come through, we'll swoop the garbage up and keep it moving. That's all.
So they're not pulling it into the middle of the street. They're just pulling it off of the curbs, kind of
Off of the curb,
lining
off the curb,
with where the cars are parked so that you could reach and grab it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've seen. I've seen that in a few places, but not necessarily blocking traffic.
No, we're not blocking traffic. No.
Okay. Well,
that's common practice too. Other communities do that as well. That's not something out of the normal. So
absolutely, White Plains does it.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's efficient.
Right.
Yeah. Also, on the safety issue that Mary brought up, an interesting statistic. One of the 10 most dangerous jobs in the United States just happens to be a sanitation worker. So when you see the driver blocking traffic, sometimes he's doing that because it's a busy street and for the men's safety on the back of the truck. And I've done it myself when I drove before, because guys, like Murray said, some people are flying behind the truck. I had an incident on 4th Avenue last week where a guy literally pulled the car up to the literally at the back of the truck where the men couldn't even put the cardboard in the truck. I mean, that's how nasty some people can be. So it's about the men's safety, honestly, because you speeding by, it could cause, you could kill somebody. It's interesting. I had a lady scream at me because she was ready to go to church on a Sunday when we were picking up garbage, and the men were trying to, pick up the garbage safely. And I asked her, like, you're going to church. Are you serious right now? Can you not? I didn't understand it. You're on your way to church, but the men's lives just were not. She was from out of town, but the men's lives weren't important. It was just important for her to get to church because she was running late. It was amazing to me. So.
Wow. So I want to pull in Mr. Vincent Rodriguez in, so he can kind of just share with us what he does and some of his perspectives on working in the Department of Public Works. Mr. Rodriguez?
How you doing? I just want to thank all the DPW workers and city workers for the hard work during this pandemic. It's been a little stressful and very difficult to do the job of managing the fleet of the city vehicles. But it's very difficult, and the comptroller is not paying the bills and not getting all the supplies and material that we need for the garage so we can move it forward. And very, very difficult. I've been taking parts off an old garbage truck to put onto the other garbage trucks to get them up and going. So it's been extremely, extremely very stressful for the last couple of weeks.
Well, we are trying to work, and Damani can tell you that he makes many attempts to submit bills. She's been accepting them a little more regularly lately. I know at one time we were up to probably over $1 million of bills that we were trying to submit, because it was very hard for him to put the invoices in because they weren't being accepted. But he has been working very hard with the controller to increase his ability to be able to meet with her and get these bills paid. So, it's not easy. It's not easy. This is not beat up the controller night by any means, but these are the realities and the conditions under which our city is operating and functioning. If you in your personal home are not paying bills, then imagine that you wouldn't be able to go places and order and purchase where you usually purchase. And so the relationships with vendors here in the city are critical, because when you don't pay your bills, they don't want you to order anything from them because they don't know when they're going to get paid. And when you have to go to new vendors, they know Mount Vernon's history and reputation. And so they'll tack on 10, 15, 25% more onto the price and make us pay a higher price, knowing that they're going to lose money while they're waiting to be paid. I know in the Board of Estimate meeting this morning, we had some emergency sewer repairs. So Deputy Commissioner Bush, I think you did mention that the sewer department resides within DPW. And so we had some emergency street and sewer repairs because some of our sewer lines are collapsing, just like older cities throughout the country that have not spent a lot of money on infrastructure upgrades. We have sewer lines that are failing, and it's causing street sinkholes. And when you have to get that fixed in an emergency, then you have to go out. Usually you have to go out and get 3 bids, but for emergency situations, if you can get 3 bids, that's great, but it's very hard for Mount Vernon to get 3 bids. The same thing, we saw this with Memorial Field. With Memorial Field, when we went out initially to have the dirt removed and the dirt remediated from Memorial Field, there was only one company that replied to that huge RFP. And so when we put out things to bid for emergency repairs and sewer repairs and things of that nature, oftentimes we'll only have one organization or company that will come back and respond, because others know that getting paid from the city of Mount Vernon is like whack-a-mole. As soon as you think you hit it, you realize that you've missed it and the target continues to move. So that definitely does impact the work that you guys are able to do and the speed in which you're able to do it. And like you said, trying to maintain an aging fleet, not being able to purchase parts. And I think one of our trucks was out for how long, Damani, with BlackRock? How long was that truck out waiting?
Oh, it's still out right now. That's one of the trucks that we've been waiting to get back for a couple of months now. And they made the repairs, but they won't release the truck because the invoice hasn't been paid. So
$5,000. So we owe $5,000 and the invoice hasn't been paid for months. And so our truck is sitting in a garage waiting to be delivered back to Mount Vernon. And that would give you another truck to be able to have 9 routes instead of 8. So, these are the realities that our team works with every day. Again, not trying to make excuses, but when you have limited resources and you don't have the ability to expand your relationships with vendors and companies who will serve us, it kind of puts us in a deficit position. I know, look, this is a strange time because usually for DPW week, we'd be having a cookout in Hartley Park to show thanks and appreciation to you guys. And we're not able to do that right now because of COVID and social distancing and things of that nature. So in the absence of a cookout, we have to find a way to at least deliver some type of lunch to you guys and just show our appreciation. DPW is the muscle of Mount Vernon. We appreciate the work that you do. Yes, are there things that we could improve? Absolutely. Are we continuing to work on improving those things? Yes. Are there things that you guys are doing great under the circumstances? Absolutely. So we are here to, we don't want the only time that we hear from people in the community to be when they have a criticism, but please give our guys a shout out when they are doing a good job as well. So one of the things, the constant question that I get, Deputy Commissioner Bush, is about potholes. And what is the city of Mount Vernon doing to address the potholes in Mount Vernon? Can you talk to us about the funding that we have for pothole repairs that you're having a hard time accessing?
Well, it all goes back to the same situation. And I'm glad you said that too. This is not an attack on the controller, but it's the reality that we're dealing with. Right now, we have $2 million in CHIPS funding, which is—
Hold on. Let's be accurate. 1,986,000, because somebody might take you to task over that extra 14. So we don't have 2 million. Let's not round up. We have $1,986,000 sitting in the Department of Transportation in the state of New York, waiting to be drawn down so that we can pave our streets. Go on. I'm sorry. Just want to be accurate.
You're absolutely right. So yeah, we have a good amount of money waiting to be used to repave our streets. What happened was last year, no, it was the year before last, we did some repaving and the vendor has not received payment yet. And what's going on is we can't get the reimbursement until we pay the money out first. So by that check not being cut to pay for that work that was completed, we can't get the reimbursement from the state, which means that we can't access those funds. So for the past year and a half, 2 years now, I've been going back and forth just trying to get this bill paid so we can continue repaving our streets. Because what we're doing right now is we're taking cold patch and we're doing potholes ourselves. But the bottom line is this: the streets need to be repaved. We're at that breaking point now where streets haven't been repaved in 10, 15, 20 years. So the infrastructure is literally crumbling beneath our feet. So it's important now that we get this money, we have access to this money, and we're able to spend it and able to use it to repave our streets now. So, and the longer we wait, they reduce it. So every year that we don't use the money, they look and they say, well, you guys are not using the money. We're not going to keep allocating it for you. So it's important that we begin using this money now and get our streets repaved.
So, I mean, you know, again, we don't talk about things without being able to prove it. Because facts are facts and they don't really change. Facts don't change. Facts are just facts. So I'm just calculating something based on what we pulled down. I went to the New York Conference of Mayors conference earlier this year, and the commissioner from the Department of Transportation approached Council President Copeland and myself and said, you know, guys, what are you doing? You have almost $2 million that you're leaving on the table that you can lose if you don't spend it. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is what we call the City of Mount Vernon CHIPS report. And from all prior years before 2018, we have $65,624 left in the account. But for starting April 1st, 2018 to March, I guess, what, 30th or however many days are in March 2018 to 2019, we have $959,829.94 left. Almost $1 million left starting 2018. Now, why is it that in 2017 and in prior years, the only thing left in the account is $65,000, but starting in 2018, April, we're leaving almost $1 million on the table. And then it's very similar numbers that is left, a little bit more money was left on the table. $1 million was left on the table from April 1st, 2019 to current in 2020, because again, as you've said, Deputy Commissioner Bush, the controller has refused to pay the vendor that paved our streets. And so we cannot submit for reimbursement, which means that we cannot draw down the next allocation of money. And that's how this works. We have to spend the money in order to be able to access the money. And you just rotate it. We're not looking to do one big paving event that's going to cost us $1,986,000, but we can do 20 paving events that are $100,000 a piece, or 10 paving events that are $200,000, and just continue to rotate that money so that it's not hitting us all at one time. It's kind of like layaway. it's project management and fiscal management. So, I mean, these are real realities that we are dealing with here in the city of Mount Vernon. So for those who want to know our paving plan, please know that we have $1,986,000 in CHIPS, Pave New York, and EWR money sitting in the New York State Department of Transportation that we cannot access because the controller has failed to pay the last paving bill and we can't be reimbursed for it. I mean, so that's just factual. I don't do political attacks. We talk facts. Lies don't stand, but truth stands forever. And these are just some of the facts and some of the challenges. But we are at the end of our hour. I just want to give you time to kind of go back through and give some closing remarks. We started about 10 minutes late, so we have about 10 minutes to go. So if we can start with Dwayne, Just some of your closing thoughts.
I guess we just want the public to working hard. We understand the taxpayer homeowners. I spoke with a gentleman at 45 Parkway West about paving. He was wondering when the street was going to be paved. We keep patching the holes, which he calls craters. And I tried to explain to him earlier, we're doing the best we can, but I'll make a concerted effort with Schemato to get him out there as soon as possible. And so he was thankful for that. The highway crews are working hard. I spoke with a gentleman today on 132 Cottage and who had a serious tripping hazard from a tree root condition. And he was appreciative that one, I showed, and two, I put a barricade out, and three, you know, after tomorrow, we're going to try to get to it again. It's a holiday weekend. I don't want to open anything up and leave it open for long. So, we're trying. I know, it's hard for people who don't really fully understand what we do on a daily basis, but please understand that we are working our behinds off to get the job done. And I gotta give a huge shout out to all my fellow coworkers who are cracking their tails every day. Like I said, tomorrow's gonna be a challenge, but we're gonna get the job done with or without a brand new truck or even more manpower. We just continue to plug on. So hopefully in the future, DPW is a consideration for some major upgrades because we need them. We really do. But and until that happens, we're gonna keep getting the job done. It just is what it is.
Thank you. I just want to give you another comment. Captain Roy Hastings, he's one of the captains in our police department. He said, I appreciate my crew. They are the best. DPW is the engine that keeps the city running. So just wanted to give you that. Let me see. Someone else said they had an issue with someone tossing the cans. But they told the foreman about it, and you explained that it was not the regular people, and it was corrected immediately. Danielle Jones said, please, as the drivers of the trucks, be mindful of other drivers as well as you're working. So I want to make sure that people can't say we're just giving you all the compliments, but we're not sharing with you some of the other concerns that people have. Someone said they work in Harlem, and in Harlem, they block the whole street and you just have to wait. But when buses are in the kneeling position and they're letting people with disabilities on, if you go around a bus, you're getting a ticket. You can get a ticket. So we might have to institute something, whereas if they're speeding and going around a DPW truck, if you haven't been able to pull over, like you said, we have to make sure that people are safe. Javon Boxhill, who is the former first deputy commissioner in the comptroller's office, said bills come in every day. They should be processed every day. David Gladman said more people are at home, more garbage produced. Appreciate you guys. Believe me, I remember when we had an issue where garbage wasn't picked up for a few weeks due to nonsense. So let's not forget. Someone wanted to know why the garbage men are not picking up metal. We can't pick up metal. We can't pick up everything. There are a lot of communities that don't even do major waste. They do garbage and they do yard waste. They don't have those days where you can put out your TVs and toilets and mattresses. A lot of communities have discontinued those type of household pickups, and they're not even included. You have to have a private company come to pick that up, or you have to bring it to a city dump yourself. So we can pick up a lot, but we can't pick up everything. Okay, while I'm looking at these comments, we're gonna ask for John Montemarano to come on in and give his closing thoughts.
Unmute, John.
Hold on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Pretty much my closing thoughts are, throughout this whole COVID-19, DPW's been there at the front line every day. You know, we're essential workers and we can't make everybody happy, but, you know, we try. And at the end of the day, we still have families to go home to. So, you know, we're a family. We try our best. And hopefully once this thing blows over and we try to get to a normalcy, which is never going to be a normalcy, but, you know, we'll do the best that we could do. That's all. We're just one big family.
People are already starting with the fireworks. It's not even Memorial Day, let alone the 4th of July. I'm just listening to the background noise. So Jen, your closing thoughts.
I guess I just want to give a bunch of thank yous, Madam Mayor, Deputy Bush, for the huge support, foremen, supervisors, John, Vinny, for always being so organized and handing in your invoices and paperwork in a timely fashion and to my liking. Dwayne, because if I don't say you, you're going to say I'm not your best friend. And our vendors that have stuck with us and are patient with us and appreciate my honesty. And even those that aren't so patient, I feel you, I understand, but I thank our vendors for really sticking by us and understanding what we're going through, because they are very patient. And I know that there's so many vendors out there that can't pay their own suppliers or even their own employees because they're not getting paid by us, and they're still sticking by us. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Jen. We appreciate your professionalism. You are a tower of strength and great patience, as you know, because it's about relationships. People want to get paid, but because of the relationships that we have created over the years with our vendors, as you said, they are sticking with us through these very kind of crazy times when we can't even tell them when they're going to be paid. Because we just don't know ourselves, because we do not control the finance office. And that is a real challenge.
Yes, frustrating.
To say the least. But we smile through it and continue to do the work despite. So Mr. Murray, if you can give us your closing thoughts.
Yes, I just want to salute. I just want to salute all my DPW brothers. And I just want to thank all the homeowners that comes out. You know, we got some homeowner that comes out, you know, give us Dunkin' Donuts, you know, say thank you. You know, people drive by, say thank you. You know, we appreciate that. Thank you. You know, thank you. And I understand, you know, you're going to get complaints no matter, you know, how good of a job you get. You know, that's just life. You know, but that's not a problem, though. We'll take them complaints and try to, you know, put it into something positive. You know, so I want to just thank you. And thank you too, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And like I said, we're not perfect, but we are making continuous quality improvements. And hopefully the community will work with us as we continue to ramp back up after COVID. So Vincent, Mr. Rodriguez, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all DPW workers for their hard work, and also like to thank the town for their patience, their hard work for getting these trucks up and going for the sanitation guys and for all the DPW workers. It's been really, really tough last couple of months, but they've been doing a really, really good job on getting these trucks up every day. And I really like to salute them all. That's about it.
Thank you. We have here Mr. Ramos said, Miss Mayor, about the street cleaning, please, about North 7th. It's a mess. The garbage on the streets. You have to do something. So, you know, one of the things that happened when COVID came is we suspended alternate side of the street parking because people were home. There was nowhere for them to move their cars. And so literally for the last 9 to 10 weeks, our street sweepers have not been able to go into residential neighborhoods and really get the garbage, the street garbage. People have thrown their masks, they've thrown their gloves, all of this personal protective equipment. As I got dropped off at home last night by my security detail. I pulled up to my house and my husband was across the street from my house with a broom and a dustpan and big gloves on his hand, literally picking up garbage. And so we've wanted the convenience of being able to park in our neighborhoods and not have to get up and move our cars during COVID when we were sheltering in place. And so at the same time, I'm asking people that until we start alternate side of the street parking and being able to sweep the streets again, that you do the same thing. Go outside in the front of your house for the convenience that you have of not having to move your car and just help pick up some things in front of your house. We have to all do our part in the community. And, you know, I think if the mayor's husband can do it, a lot of other people can do it. And I go out and I pick up stuff in front of my house because, again, the trucks are not able, the street sweepers are not able to get out there. We can't ask for the convenience of not moving our cars and expect for us to send crews around who on foot constantly to pick up garbage that are kind of in the sewer areas that we would usually reach by street sweeping. So we're asking people to help us, help you to do the work here in the city. So Deputy Commissioner Bush, if you could have our last comments and close us out, what do you want to say to the people?
To the people of Mount Vernon, like I said, I appreciate the cooperation that they had with us with these past few weeks. It's been troubled. It's been frustrating, overwhelming. It's been a lot, but you know, it opened my eyes to a lot of things in the city and how if we work together, things can really get done. And I honestly want to thank you, Madam Mayor, because me being in this position so young, it's been difficult and it's been very frustrating. And I want to thank you for your leadership and your professionalism and just giving me that pat on that back and just pushing me forward throughout this whole thing. So I really appreciate it. And to my team, let's get it done. You know, we signed up for, and I appreciate everything you guys do on a daily basis. And we're gonna continue fighting the fight for the city of Mount Vernon. That's what we're here for. So appreciate it.
We're going to close out again by saying happy DPW week. We appreciate the work you're doing. And because we can't have this cookout, we're asking if there's a restaurant out there that wants to help us
We're hungry.
provide an extra blessing and show some extra love to our DPW crew during their week. Please reach out to the mayor's office at 914-665-2360. so that we could show our DPW team some extra love and appreciation for all of the additional work that they've been doing during this pandemic and the work that they continue to do every day. Guys, lady, and gentlemen, I really appreciate the work you're doing. We're going to continue to seek new and innovative ways to do even more. Because we are about customer service. We acknowledge what we're not doing at 100%, and we're always looking for ways to improve it and expand it. And thank you for being willing to take the journey with me. I am honored to be able to lead and serve with you and take care of the residents of Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon, remember, alternate side of the street parking goes back in effect as of next Tuesday, a week from today, May 26th. Alternate side of the street parking will go back into effect on May 26th, next Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. God bless everyone and have a wonderful night. Take care.
Good night.
You too. Good night.
Good night.